Howdy folks, this morning's soap is coming from Strike Gold Shave. The name of it is Ike, and you can tell there on the label it comes with 5 ounces of soap in the container. I'll have a description of the scent down below. I can smell sort of, but I don't trust my nose to be able to describe the scent just yet. And that's what the soap looks like. I've already been scraping some out for the bowl this morning. It's fairly firm in there, but once you start to scrape it out, it's very soft and pliable. Put it down in the bowl. The blade of the day, this will be a first time go for me. This will be a Rapira. Super stainless, I think is what it was referred to. Yes. And alum block complete with rubber band. And I don't know if you can tell, it's getting smaller. Quite a bit smaller. Thayer's Witch Hazel with aloe. Going to follow up with the matching aftershave. And that's a glass bottle also, if you're unfamiliar with this. And if I remember right, that's it says 100 milliliters. I think that is the 3.4 ounces, if I remember right. The shaver of the day is going to be the R41, complete with the rose gold handle. This is one of the best looking razors I have, in my opinion. I think it is just beautiful. And you can tell there is no overhang on the ends. I say there's none. It's a teeny tiny bit, but not enough to be mentioning. But it is just a beautiful razor. By most estimations, it's probably one of the more aggressive of the razors out there. Got this whipped up in the bowl. And I have a very unusual, if you will, unique, might be a better way of describing the brush handle. It's got a Kashmir knot. Thought it was pretty cool. This came from Wagner. By the way, on Facebook. I'll try to put a link down below. And got it all whipped up here. It's he was offering I guess you might say a sweet deal on Facebook before Christmas, where you can get a brush and a very nice super speed. For a deal. And I think it was only through Christmas. I might be wrong. You have to check and make sure, but I think it was just through Christmas. And I ordered it just before Christmas. Already put a hot towel to the face, and you might be able to see how I already worked some of the bloom water on the face there. Got it lathered up a little bit. That's a pretty cool brush handle. Like I said, I won't be speaking much about the scent. I know I can smell it. It smells good right now with my nose the way that it is, but I have moments where I can't hardly breathe out of my nose, and I know sometimes I'm smelling stuff and it's not making any sense why I'm smelling it, so I'm sure my nose is still somewhat messed up. In other words, here I'll smell something and it's not, I can't put my finger on why I'm smelling it. There's nothing around me to see the reason why I'm smelling it. So this lather this morning is a little thicker, not quite as wet as I normally whip it up. I've gotten so used over time whipping up wet lather, I thought maybe while I was shaving with the ease from time to time, I'd try to whip one up a little thicker than what I normally do. It's kind of funny to me that I got so used to it that I thought maybe I better try to remember how to whip one up a little thicker. Because wet lather, in my opinion, just works better with like a shave head or a straight razor for me. With a DE, I can at least back when I used to shave with them more often, a thicker lather wasn't wasn't an issue with the DE as it was. It seemed like I didn't get quite the glide that I needed with the shave vet, so I started mixing up a little wetter, and things just started working a whole lot better for me then. At least that's my experience. Now, I haven't used this blade before, so I don't know how smooth this is going to be. I know some really like these blades. I am trying it for the first time in an R41, so I guess you might say this is a fair test. R41 with the Strike Gold Shave soap. Frank's idea behind this soap was that it's a luxury soap suitable for a president. I know this soap works well for me. I understand, you know, how scent can be subjective. You may or may not like a particular scent. I'm usually pretty wide open on scents. Not a real big sandalwood fan. Just, I mean, it's not that I don't, how can you say, it's not that I dislike it, it doesn't really hit my nose in such a way that it makes me want to be interested in it. But it's not that I don't like it. I don't really, when it's usually included with some other scents, I don't really pick it up normally. In my opinion, a lot of times it's not I guess you might say it's not a top note, or it's just something my nose is just not picking it up because it's mixed in with other scents. But I know the one I don't like is dirt. I can't do dirt. I do not like that scent. I guess it's over the years and with my nose at times. I used to live in the southwestern part of Oklahoma for a number of years when I was a kid, and it would get quite dusty down there, and so that scent, in other words, that scent of dirt was always in my nose, and yeah, so not a real big fan of dirt. This is the R41, and there is going to be a certain blade feel. I'd have to say, in my opinion, this is just my experience, that it seemed like I got a smoother shave out of the feather. In other words, the blade feel on this one here is somewhat different. Than the other blades I used. It very well could be that the against the grain pass, maybe it might smooth out. I noticed that about some of the blades, that it seems to that I've used here lately, that the very first or second pass, in other words, each pass that you do, the blade seems to smooth out a little bit. Not quite as, it's not tugging, but it's not smooth. I mean, it could be just like, I'm thinking, matter of fact, it might be tomorrow. I might do it tomorrow, switch things up a little bit. Supermax Diamond, Blue Diamond. I'm going to try it in a DE. I tried it in a Shavette, and it wasn't very smooth at all. Matter of fact, to the point where I probably won't use it in a Shavette again. It wasn't very smooth, but by all accounts, to my understanding, you know, the way people have been talking about it, that have used it and like it, you know, it sounds much different in a DE, and thinking that, you know, that particular Shavette and that blade maybe not be a good match. Maybe I need to try it in a DE and see what kind of feel I get. And I'm thinking that's probably the situation with this one here, is that this blade is not a good match for me in the R41. That's one thing I'd have to say over time, using certain blades in some of these DEs, I definitely remember what ones felt pretty smooth. I know in the past I've got some really smooth, nice shaves with this razor. This shaver here is, it's efficient. You're going to feel a little bit of the blade, but didn't end up with weepers or anything. In other words, not a bad shave. And this is, really like this shaver. May seem kind of odd, but yeah, that against the grain pass was a lot smoother. It could be like what some people say about the feather. The second and third use will get a lot better for you. And that might be the case with this one here. I do think Frank has some Ike left. Last time I looked at his website, like I say, I think it's, if I remember right, I think it's $14.99 for 5 ounces. 5 ounces instead of 4 being the norm. It seems like the average that what most artisans put in a container, around that price range. I can tell you that the soap itself is has a creamy feel to it. I'd have to look real quick, because if I didn't know any better, it says it has shea butter in it. It's got glycerin, stearic acid. The way it feels, it almost, it leaves me the impression it's got cocoa butter in it. That's how it feels to me. And it might be that combination with the shea butter and one of the other ingredients that gives it that feel to me. At least to me, that's how it feels. You know how it is, your mileage may vary. Pretty close shave. If I got any irritation, I am assuming it'll be somewhere right through here. Every once in a while I get something a little bit off and excuse me, get a little bit of pressure right around there, and I get a spot like right in there and over here, because that's also where the in case you might say, it's thickly populated in whisker growth. hair right there. And it seems also, it's ever so slight, if you will, but a noticeable for me, because I shave there every day, that that feel, not only is it more densely populated, but the hair seems to, because the density, very tough to shave there. You have to be real careful, otherwise you will get some irritation right there, at least for me, when I get to that point. Now for others, if your hair grows denser in other places, you may experience the same thing, especially if you've had a lot of irritation in the past. And shaving with a cartridge right through here was a very tough spot, especially right there. That was probably the worst spot right there. This one here, not quite so bad, but it happened every once in a while. But right up in here, it gets a lot more denser in the growth, and oh, you can have some pretty painful moments right through there. Witch hazel. You know, if you haven't seen one of my videos before, I'm trying to. My goal is to have a smooth, comfortable shave. I don't strive to get the BBS. I just want smooth and comfortable. In other words, I can go most of the day, including past 5 o'clock, and you have to look really close to see growth. Now by in the morning though, yeah, it's there, but very acceptable for going to work with, yes. Not a BBS by any means, no. Not only once in a great while, because of the shaver I may be using, I might attempt to do that, but the focus dynamic is one that I would strive to do that, because it is such a smooth shaver. Got some Ike here. It does come with a restrictor, and I got to show you the cap. It's one of those things I like, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Maybe if I get an angle on it. There is a little bit of, I guess you might say, a post coming down from the top of the cap that goes inside of the restrictor. And maybe you might be able to see how big that restrictor is, which I think is pretty cool. To me, it makes it easier to control when you have a restrictor that size that's small, if you're really concerned about dumping too much out at one time. And with that post coming down, it helps with, I'll just say, leakage. So in other words, if your container ends up being on the side, and your kit, when you're traveling, the odds of it leaking makes it a whole lot more slim, because of that post going down in the restrictor. I don't think this has got menthol in it, but it's probably a combination of what else is in there. Feeling like almost like it's not a cooling effect. It kind of reminds me of some of the other aftershaves I've used, where you feel the coolness, and the face is starting to feel pretty good. I don't recall the previous aftershave being quite like this one. It's got alcohol in it. Witch hazel. That might be the trigger right there. Can't remember. Yeah, it's got alum in it also, and aloe. I think that's probably the combination I'm feeling, is the alum and the aloe. Feels pretty good. I like how it feels. I like this combination. Go back over. I gotta show this again. Show this side. That's what the brush looks like. You can get these with different knots, and he has a selection if you're interested in, you know, getting something different than a Kashmir. If you're looking for more for looks, my experience with the Kashmir is that it's this is a fairly soft knot, and for me, I like to have, I guess you might say, a variety. And this is what the bottom looks like. Looks like a revolver, and this is what it looks like on the inside. And of course, yeah, it's threaded right there. And this part here has a bit of weight to it, and that's what it looks like on the inside. Kind of see it's grooved right at, I'm sorry, right there. I think just it's a unique brush to have in the den from time to time, especially with the number of postings I have with Wild West shaving soap. Yeah, this would be a good one to have in there. I had a good shave, and like I said, it's not unusual for me to end up with red. It'll go away here pretty soon. It's not irritated, it's just the way I am. I guess you might say the way I'm made up. Hope everybody had a great Christmas. Stay safe. Smooth shaves until next time.